Okay, I got 6 Dua fragrances here. All these work really well in the winter. All right, this one is a Dua original, and he calls it Cozy Tale of Winter. I love this thing, but I love pine fragrances, and this is one of the best pine fragrances I have in my collection. Nuclear performance, too. You don't need many sprays on this. You're going to get a ton of pine from the pine and spruce notes, and then he's got a nice cardamom and lavender mixed into it to kind of round it out and make it like more comforting and cozy. It's spicy, sweet, green, woody, a little resinous too. Yeah, I love this way, and the mood it puts me in. It definitely has a Christmassy pine forest feel to it. Yeah, if anything like that sounds interesting to you, check this one out. I love it. Out of the gate, some of these I didn't check to see if they're in stock or if you can still get them, so I apologize if you can't get them, but either way, you can just take this as entertainment. This is a good one here. Dua, a Christmas 2023. It's just like Christmas cookies, cinnamon sprinkled gingerbread cookies. It's got a nice milk accord in it. There's a little pine note in the background, so maybe like the pine trees in the background where you're, the kitchen's being filled with all these holiday treats being cooked. There's a little bit of an amber note. There's like a buttery note he put in it, cardamom, cinnamon, definitely a creamy note in it. There's a nice ginger latte note in it. You definitely pick up that with the gingerbread smell, and a little bit of like a milk smell too, creamy milk smell. So yeah, just like you're by the holiday kitchen with a bunch of cookies and breads and stuff being cooked. Definitely a gourmand type fragrance. Definitely unisex to me. Yeah, this one maybe leans a little feminine, but pretty easy to pull off. I think kind of the pine kind of pulls it a little more masculine. But yeah, this smells like Christmas. Great job on this one. Looking forward to see which one he's going to release this year. All right, the next one is inspired by Oud Sapphire by Bodacia the Victorious. And I've never smelled the original, so I got no idea how close this is. But they call it Sandalwood Sapphire. And based on the research I did kind of looking up this fragrance, I'm thinking this smells pretty close to the original because there's really not a lot of reviews, but the reviews I'm getting on this smells pretty identical to what this smells like. It's mainly like a leathery and spicy, and this is super Middle Eastern, and there's definitely like a stinky type oud note to it, which I love this fragrance. This is good to me, but most of you guys probably going to stay away from this. This is for like a this isn't a beginner fragrance enthusiast type fragrance. You got to be in a game a while to start appreciate this. And then maybe some people that's been in a game a while, they still don't want to have a skanky oud type smell. But me, I love it. I love this fragrance. It's great. It's pretty expensive, so I'm never going to smell the original. But I'm just going to judge this one based on what I think of this scent, and I love it, regardless of how close to the original it is. So you just get a ton of spices right out the gate. You get the ambrette, black pepper, and saffron, and then it doesn't immediately too. You're getting tons of leather and asmanthus and oud, and then it has to dry down a little bit before you start smelling the iris, sandalwood, and styrax. It's got a real nice transition. This one transitions pretty good. As it dries down, you start gets musky, powdery, a little smoky, and some amber notes. But you don't get too much of that in the beginning. In the beginning, you just get mainly animalic oud and leather. And during the mid, you start getting a little bit of iris and florals and spices. But this is a nice fragrance, and I'm guessing that this is pretty close to the original, as I already said. But yeah, this is a really nice winter fragrance, and this thing is nuclear. One of my favorite things about Dua is he turns me on to fragrances and houses that I would have never heard of, because he's out here curating all these different scents. And there's tons of fragrances I've smelled that I would have never came across or even thought about looking into. So this is another example of that. He calls it Spice Gourmand, and this it's called Dies Aurora. I'm not even going to try to say the house name. I have it up here somewhere. But I think it's a Italian house. I'm not sure on that. I'm pretty sure on that. So it's a incense fragrance first and foremost, which I love incense fragrances. And it's kind of a gourmand too, but it's not some overly sweet type gourmand. Super interesting story. A lot of art into this. This is an artistic fragrance. I have no idea how close to the original this is, but there's this hazelnut note that gives it that gourmand with some caramel as soon as you smell it. And there's that elamine note, which I always love. A little bit of pistachio and almond, but it's not real sweet. This is not sweet at all. It's more dry. But the main notes you're getting is this beeswax, incense, and honey through the life of the fragrance. And oh man, I love it. It's a drier incense, and whatever source he's using for his incense notes are typically pretty nice. And there's some woods, tonka bean, vanilla, musk, and patchouli as it dries down, and just paints this really nice painting like you're at a cathedral. with candles and incense in the air. And then, maybe there's some street carts outside making some nutty, fruity type sweets outside. This is truly artistic, and man, however close this is an original, this is a great fragrance, and this is one you don't ever hear anybody talking about either. So yeah, I love this one. All right, the next one is inspired by a kind of what I consider a slept-on PDM fragrance, Habdan. This is called Essence of Royalty. That's what he calls it. And I'll say right off the gate, I got a generic version of this one that I do like a little bit better. The oud and the woods are toned up a little bit in this one, and the caramel notes toned up a little bit more. Kind of like the way the generic did it, and toned down the oud and kind of balanced out all the other ones. But this one's still great, and the original is really great. I just don't know why it's not talked about enough. Maybe it's because of the oud note. It's a little bit animalic, but and there's some saffron, but there's just a lot of warm spices in here. It's got a real comforting fall winter type fragrance. Pretty masculine. I think the oud kind of makes it masculine, but this is a great fragrance. So it's a spicy, oriental type fragrance, woody, sweet, fruity. You're going to get saffron and frankincense, apple, oud, and rose right out of the gate. And then as it dries down, there's a Panax, amber, and some more of that dark oud as it dries down. It's kind of apple with sweet, spicy notes. A little bit of caramel and myrrh shows up later. A lot of saffron and frankincense at the beginning, and the caramel gives it a nice fresh and sweet tone to it. So yeah, this is a great fragrance for fall and winter. I highly recommend you guys maybe try a sample of the original. And yeah, these are fairly closely original. This is generic, but I do like the original better. But this is a good way to get into the fragrance on a budget. All right, this is another one here that's going to be pretty challenging. It's Bath Afghano by Nasamato Inspired. He calls it Hades Elixir, which is a good name for this one. This thing is just so dark, deep, and dank. And I actually have smelled the original, and I've tried a bunch of different clones of it. And this is by far the best clone of it or whatever, because it's a pretty complex fragrance. And a lot of the clone oils I did just didn't, they weren't even really close. And this one's pretty close. I'm real happy with this one. So it's woody, resinous, spicy, smoky, oriental type note to it. Really nice cannabis note into it, which always does good on that. It's amber, smoky, balsamic, a little bit of greenness to it. Some warm spices and tobacco. Yeah, a lot going on. A really dark, deep fragrance. And just like the original, this thing, you don't need many sprays of this. And yeah, like I said, challenging for most people, but I love it. And on a super real cold day, this one just works really well for me, and just kind of soothes me. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, I love this one. All right, doing the slide in like Gent Scent likes to do. Love Dua fragrances. Love all these. And yeah, if you made it this far, like, subscribe, and comment. That helps the algorithm, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch.